Hi, this is Peter from Healing Your Home. Healing Your Home is a shamanic healing and a teaching practice. The aim is to bring you home into your life, into your being. This video is called What's the Use of Gods? This is, of course, a blasphemous question. So anybody that has a deep connection with the gods doesn't approach it like this, doesn't think it like this. But there are a lot of people out there that have no practical connection or practical experience of the gods and the goddesses. And therefore this is kind of a normal question to ask. Why would I even approach them? Why would I even want them in my life? And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I've had clients recently where this theme has been lurking in the background or in the front. So what's the use of gods? We live in a universe that is massive. It's massive in size and massive in depth, many dimensions, and all kinds of different beings in this universe. It's such an adventure to be alive in a place like this. And these beings are of all kinds of different types. There are certain beings that are phenomenally powerful, strong, wise, and are very close to the source of all creation, even partly in the source of all creation. And these beings are genuinely labeled or called gods and goddesses. And these beings have a tremendous amount to offer, tremendous amount to give. And what is wonderful when you get in contact with these high beings, that they are really compassionate and loving and really want to help, for you to expand, to grow, even more than you in many ways. So that's an extremely important thing to realize. There are other beings that are pretty powerful, and other beings that are less powerful, that are not really that interested in helping us, and not necessarily going out of the way to harm us. Some are, it's rare, but mainly they're indifferent about us. And if it suits them, they will take advantage of us, easy peasy. And it's important to know both of these, because you have to approach your spiritual journey and life in general, I would say, knowing that not all beings are the same. And having a god or a goddess close in your life is like having a human friend that is extremely powerful. Let's say extremely rich friend, extremely capable, wise, caring friend. And it's a friend that seemingly you feel like, I have nothing to offer this friend. And still he gives me again and again and again and again. This is how it often feels, that we have very little to offer to these beings. But still, in my experience, they are really willing to help. It's important to realize that we giving them in the same way as if we had this super rich, powerful friend, that there's almost nothing that he doesn't own that we can give him. But it's the gesture that is so important, our willingness to give, our willingness to offer something to these higher beings, that really facilitates this gifting cycle of giving and receiving. And it's important for us to give, to be able to open up to receiving. This is a very mystical connection. That is, we're always, the ones that are on this path are always learning more and more how deep it goes. The gods and goddesses often reach out to us, and this is out of compassion. This is really, there's no other reason for it, it's compassion and love for us. And I've had a client who has a very strong resonance, strong energy of a particular god, actually the god of the sea. And I live here in Normandy, close to the beach. And very often the being, the sea god, is calling me, hey, you need to help him. You need to help him to reach me more. You need to help him to be able to open up to me. And it's very interesting to feel this willingness to be of the gods to be in contact with humans. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Um, Another way to approach it is that in alchemy, in European alchemy, they talk about as above, so below, meaning that everything that is in our being, all the resonances, all the states, all the energy that is our being, it mirrors the rest of creation. So everything that is out there is also in here, and vice versa. And the gods and goddesses are being with phenomenally high frequency, high resonance, and their capacity to love, the capacity to be compassionate, their capacity to navigate in this universe on multi levels, their capacity to work in different time scales, time frames, is way beyond our capacity. So when we are in connection, deep connection with the gods and goddesses, we receive a lot of these resonances. And this raises our vibration tremendously. So our capacity to love, our capacity to be wise, to be understanding, to navigate in different times and such increases tremendously. In India, they have a saying, you become what you worship. Because when you worship something, when you open up to something, and especially with such love and such a friendship, it really, really increases that particular resonance. It's probably the thing that increases it the most efficiently. This is why it's often talked about the path of devotion is such an efficient path. And you don't have to be necessarily super devotional to have an ally in a god or goddess, but you need to be able to nourish the relationship. And it's completely the same thing as you have a friend, and particularly powerful, strong friend. You want to be in contact with them. You actually love being with them. You love being in their presence. And this is needed to facilitate the relationship. So what you get if you are in a connection with higher beings like this is a lot of guidance. You get a lot of guidance, but it's important to realize it's not like you become the servant or the slave or something like this. You have your own life. You have your own decisions. But the wisdom, the capacity to see beyond what you can see is much more with these higher beings. So they can give you tremendous guidance and direct us onto the right paths. And always when I followed these guidances, it's led me to the right path, often very differently than I had expected, but in the long term, much more efficiently. These beings also give us tremendous amount of protection. And this is very, very important. If you are working with shamanism, if you're working with any energy system, you're in spirituality, or in general, if you just happen to be alive, it's important to have some kind of protection. And most of us are not so much aware of this need of protection. One client that I have, he went to ayahuasca a few years back in Peru. And after ayahuasca sessions, he started to develop trembling in his body that developed over time to a lot of health issues. And we've been working on this, and it's going pretty well. But what came out of this was that this client, went to an ayahuasca ceremony, but he had no protection. He was wide open. And don't get me wrong, ayahuasca is a very, very powerful being that is very beneficial. But in this instance, he was just not protected enough. And so a shaman nearby sent stuff at him, and he was just being drained of his life force, of his energy. And this had been going for quite a long time. If this client had had a strong protector in either a god or goddess or some kind of higher being, this simply wouldn't have happened. And so especially if we're opening ourselves up with maybe power medicine or other methods, it's super important to have somebody that's looking after you. Because a lot of these openings, you're not aware of everything that's going to happen. Every dimension, every state that is going to be revealed to you, you're simply not aware of it all. And it's fantastic to have a being that is willing but capable of protecting you there. That's one of the main benefits of having an ally of a god and goddess. A great use for the gods is actually in healing. And obviously this is the channel Healing Your Home. We are very much concerned about this. And all the healings I do, there's no exception, the higher beings are there helping. And they are really doing most of the healing. I'm just there to hold space, so to speak, to connect worlds, to open up things. But the higher beings are there to help. They are the ones that really do the deep healing. And that is of tremendous value to my clients. And in the case that you need someone like a shaman to help you, that's great. They can help you to connect in this particular healing session with the higher beings. But you can also do this by yourself. When you're in some health crisis, to reach out to a powerful being. Ideally, of course, you have a prior connection with them. But to reach out to a powerful being and actually ask them to help you, to bring them into your being. Sometimes perhaps you need a shaman to open this and facilitate this process and maybe even teach you how to do this. But you can do this all by yourself. That's absolutely the case. And often I've experienced that the healing, the real deep healing, is impossible. It doesn't take place without the help of these higher beings, the gods and goddesses. And when you are in connection with these beings, you are ecstatic, you are full of love, you have all these peak moments, peak realization, peak states in your life. So just by itself, it's worth being in connection with these higher beings. And often until you are in connection with them, there's like something missing. There's something that is not clicking. So this was a short video of the usefulness of having a gods and goddesses in your life, the higher beings. Of course, there are a lot of other uses of them. This is really skimming the surface. These are few practical reasons why it's so important to have gods and goddesses in your life. So if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel, like the video. If I can help you in any way as a shamanic healer or teacher, just please reach out. You get the best way to reach out for me is on my Facebook page, is Healing You Home, it's called, or you can send me an email with healingyourhome@gmail.com. Take care.